Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. You're looking live at PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I want to thank Mick Hubert, the old voice of the Gators. Hello, everybody. I'm Mick Hubert, and welcome to another exciting night of Florida Gators football. Hello, everybody. Hello, JC. How you doing?
Hello, friends. Yeah, doing great. Yeah, great weekend, man. Man, I tell you, it's hot out there, but isn't this the way it's supposed to be in August, QB?
I don't know why people keep talking about how hot it is. You live in the state of Florida, and it's freaking summer, okay?
Well, that was my point. As I was about to bring up, wow, it's hot. Okay, well, you know what? In 1986, I would be willing to bet that it was 95 degrees at some point in August. I would be willing to bet that.
And what's crazy to me is people are like, how could you play golf in this heat? What else are you going to do? It's going to be hot, and it's always hot when you play golf.
It's not like you're wearing 40 pounds of pads and a helmet on and stuff. I mean, you're out there in shorts and a golf shirt playing golf. I don't know. I think it's funny, too. That's why I brought it up. It's how funny I thought it was. People start talking about how hot it is. It's so hot. Oh, now, I will say the swimming pool at the beach is a bathtub. I mean, it is. Drain the damn thing. Put some new water in there. I don't know. But, yeah, it's so QB, listen, I mean, what was your take from the weekend? Yeah, I know nobody likes tennis and talks about tennis on this podcast, but I watched a lot of it this weekend because I'm a big tennis fan. And what they did to this girl at the WTA in the Bank National Masters 1000 event was criminal. They made this girl who played until 3 o'clock in the morning. She's from Kazakhstan, basically Russia. And she played a match until 3 o'clock in the morning, and they made her come back 5 to 7 hours later and get ready to play another match in a semifinal. And then if she were to win that, which she didn't, they had then about an hour and a half to play the final match. So basically 3 matches in 24 hours at that level. It was absurd. And
what were they going to do? What differently? Well, what could they have done differently?
Push it back. You push it back. I mean, weather was the cause of a lot of these delays, but you don't put a player in 3 matches within 24 hours, potentially. It didn't happen because she lost in the semifinal in the morning because she had 4 hours sleep and she had to play a girl who basically had a day off. Okay, that's one problem. The other problem is the one who was in the final on the other side of the bracket basically had a day off to wait and was able to wait until 5:30 that day to play the eventual semifinal winner. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But that was just a problem I had with tennis. Not many folks really care about it, but it is something I like to watch. And then we had golf yesterday, QB. I don't know if you watched that, but what about 43-year-old? Is he 43 or 42? But
43.
43 has won. Lucas Glover has won back-to-back tournaments, his 6th overall in his career. Before this year and before this last month, he had only had 4 wins, and now he's gone back-to-back on tour. Back-to-back on tour.
Yeah, it was outstanding. He had a crucial error hitting the ball in the par 3 in the lake, or he would have won the match tournament without going into extras. But think about golf this year on the PGA Tour. We're going to get to some NFL here. We got a bunch of Facebook Lives. We'll have Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com give us a recap on what happened in the Gator scrimmage and other things. Think about this. The PGA, this is what happened on how crazy golf has been this year. PGA Tour and LIV merge. Lucas Glover becomes the best golfer on the planet. Wyndham Clark stares down Roy at the U.S. Open and whips his butt. Brian Harman blows out the field at the British Open. And Justin Thomas shoots 3 rounds in the 80s at the majors. Think about that.
It's been a great year, man.
I actually got that off Twitter. I know you can't read it on
I
Twitter
like
since
that.
you're still suspended.
No, I can read anything on Twitter. But I like that we've had so much interesting finishes, final results, and so forth. Jordan Spieth hasn't won a tournament this year, he's got 3-time major winner, and he can't putt like he used to anymore for some reason. I don't know. He's switching putters every week. But the thing with Justin Thomas, QB, is do you put him on the Ryder Cup team because he didn't qualify for the playoffs and the Tour Championship? And my answer would be you do, because in the Ryder Cup, head-to-head, he is excellent. He has got a great record in the Ryder Cup, and Jordan Spieth is his best friend, and Jordan Spieth will be on the Ryder Cup. So you let those two guys be a team, and you win a match in the Ryder Cup. So that's my answer as a captain.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with that, but usually have you earned your spot on the Ryder Cup, and some other
He's a
guys
captain's
probably
pick.
deserve it.
He's going to be a captain's pick. You get 2 of those, right? Doesn't Zach Johnson get 2 of those? So Brian Harman already qualified basically winning British Open, so you don't have to worry about Brian Harman. But I think you get 2 picks as a captain's pick, and I would say definitely look at Justin Thomas. And listen, I would look at Lucas Glover. I mean, he hits it as far as just about anybody, and he putts now as well as anybody, and that's why he's won 2 weeks in a row. You go with what's hot, and that's a pick I would look at. People may think that's ridiculous, but I don't. I mean, the guy's winning. He's hot.
All right, text on the Titan Mar text line from Daryl says, "Good morning, guys. I don't play golf, but what is slow play? Is everyone standing around after a shot and talking? Shane, did JC invent slow play?" Slow play, and it's funny. We had another listener over the weekend shoot me a picture of this hat that says "Play bad golf fast" or something like that. Yeah, there was a group of probably 30-year-olds in front of our big golf group. We had 3 foursomes over the weekend, and they were playing a 2-man scramble. They were the worst golfers I've ever seen. But the problem is they all drive over and look at each other, watch everybody hit from here. And they drive over to this ball and hit. And then they stand on the damn tee box, Daryl, and they just talk. And we eventually had somebody in our group, an older gentleman, said, "Hey, young fellas, we're coming through." And they let all 3 groups come through because they were that bad.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable how people have no awareness of how you're slowing the entire golf course down because you're a terrible golfer. That's fine. Be a terrible golfer, but just play fast.
Well, one of our favorite people on earth is John Brantley, former Gator quarterback, coach at Trinity Catholic, one-time coach. And he said during his famous scramble golf tournament, his favorite saying is before they play, "I don't care if you're a rhymes with gritty golfer, just don't be a slow rhymes with gritty golfer." And so that's basically how
it's simple. It's very simple. It's a simple procedure.
It's not, you're right. It's just not being aware of who's behind you or what you need to do out there on the course because you haven't been out there. I think that's what it is. But once you learn, people generally try not to piss off others on the golf course,
Well, it's common sense. All right. Let's get to some NFL. We're going to do our NFL picks, but Andy has a Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. And also Spurrier's 2-year anniversary parties tonight. It's sold out. So tickets, don't go in there looking for tickets. It's sold out. Andy says, "Shane, AR, Stroud, Young, and Levis had underwhelming debuts. Anything to take away from that?" No, I didn't watch one play of any preseason game. Here's what I'd like to tell people.
Look,
it doesn't matter who your quarterback is that you're supporting or watching. I'm pretty sure they're going to throw some interceptions.
Yeah. Well, Kyle had one this weekend with Tampa, and he took 3 sacks. Baker Mayfield, I guess right now you'd have to say is the number 1 guy with Tampa with 2 games to go in the preseason. So it wasn't an overwhelming day for Kyle Trask. He took some sacks. But, I think as I look at the preseason, I don't get much out of it. I don't really care about the sidebar stories in the preseason. They're going to cut their rosters to what they want to have. But the New York Jets are the feature of the Hard Knocks episode in HBO Max's series of Hard Knocks, right? And the reason why is obviously Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets really do have the potential to make some noise in the division this year. But they open the season. Listen to in their first 6 games, they play Buffalo, Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Dallas. In the first four of the first 6 weeks, they play those games. Now, those games, with the exception of Dallas, are all at home. But that's a tough way to start the season with the schedule maker giving the Jets Buffalo, Dallas, Philadelphia, and Kansas City. I mean, why didn't they just throw the 49ers in there, right? So tough. And then they play the following 2 weeks after their open date in week 7, they have the Chargers and the Giants. So if the Jets are going to be the Jets that we think they might be this season, they're going to have to win some tough games. Tough games.
Yes, for sure. Daniel says, congrats to the Jacksonville Sharks who won the Arena League Championship. I didn't even know it was still being played.
Couldn't tell you about that. But Jacksonville Jags look good at Dallas. Trevor Lawrence hit who was it? Marvin Jones on a 2-pointer, and he threw a touchdown pass to But anyway, they scored 8 points on their first possession. I think it was their first possession. Jacksonville is going to be a good team.
But here's the thing.
They're going to be a good team.
The preseason games, as I've told y'all many times on this, they mean absolutely.
I know, but
you can't take anything away from them because the coaching staff and the management already know who probably 50 of their players out of the 53-man roster are going to be.
Well, you just don't want to look lousy. But yes.
Well, that's true. But did you? I mean, I heard somebody talking about the Chiefs, how poorly the Chiefs looked yesterday.
No, that's
who
not.
Who cares?
No, that doesn't matter. But Carolina didn't score a point. Bryce Young looked lost, and Matt Corral was running for his life because nobody was blocking for him, which is about par for the course for Matt Corral, right? Isn't that what happened to him at Ole Miss? Basically running for his life. So, Carolina, Frank Reich, Bryce Young took a pretty violent hit from the New York Jets linebacker, Solomon Thomas. And they asked him, so what did it feel like getting your first NFL hit? And Bryce Young, of course, said, I didn't feel anything. But he got whacked. So you don't want to let your first-round draft pick and your starter Carolina's, I don't see big things from them this year with the situation they're in.
Yeah, everybody on here says Trask had no time. Offensive line was non-existent.
Yeah, probably true.
I didn't see a bit of it. But anyway, we're going to do our picks here. Also some news and notes, and we'll talk to Scott Carter about it. Utah's backup, Brandon Rose,
he got hurt
out with a liver laceration. They let these dudes get hit in a damn live action in practice.
What is that?
So, yeah, that's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
I mean, Kyle Whittingham is a very good coach. He knows. I just don't get that.
Well, he's a tough, hard-nosed guy. Maybe he just lets his quarterbacks be live. But now the guy that's probably going to start against the Gators now ain't going to play. And now I don't know what you're going to do with Cam Rising because I think they're crazy to play that kid. Not because it's the Gators. I just don't know how you can come back that quick from an ACL tear and play a football game.
We're talking 6 months, not even 7 months, or 7 months, not even 8, because he's practicing. I don't know. They may start the third guy, number 3 guy. You never know.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of folks feel like Florida's going to hang around in this game. Utah's going to be really tough on defense. There's no doubt about it, but you have to score to win.
Yeah. Joseph says on Facebook Live, how about the Monticello girl, Megan Schofield, QB, small town, big dreams? Not sure is there a girl playing quarterback at Monticello, I guess? I don't know. John says, what do you think of the Dolphins' struggle early in camp? Tua throwing 3 interceptions yesterday, not a start that you want. I didn't even know Tua threw 3. I don't watch preseason because doesn't matter to me. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers throws 5 interceptions in the next preseason game. He's going to be one of the best players in the league. With these young guys, the difference, and I saw 2 highlights of Anthony. One was he pulled a zone read, and he barely got 3 yards on it. The difference between pulling that zone read in college football, even in the SEC, he's going to get about 10. The National Football League, people forget, the greatest players in the world are playing in the National Football League at their positions. And the speed of the game is so much faster than college football. That's what like Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony, those guys are going to have to get used to.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, JC, you want to do our Peachland Dental NFL picks for who we think is going to win each division and make the playoffs?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's pick the AFC's. Let's pick the divisions, and then we'll take the championship game, and then we'll pick the winner. Who's going to play in the championship game? And who's going to win the championship game in each conference? Let's start in the AFC East: Buffalo, New York, Miami, and New England. This is a competitive division. QB, give me 1 through 4. What do you see?
Oh, we're doing that. Okay. Well, I think the Buffalo Bills are the best team in that league.
1. Okay.
And then I like the Miami Dolphins and the Jets and the Patriots.
2, 3, 4. I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to flip the Jets and the Dolphins. I'll have the Jets at 2, the Dolphins at 3, the Patriots 4. Buffalo wins the division. Josh Allen, too much. All right, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. That's the AFC.
Okay, hang on a second. Joseph says he thought I was a golf fan. She won the U.S. Oh, I was confused because the way you presented it to me. I got it. She says, how about the girl, the Monticello girl, Megan Schofield, QB, meaning me. I thought you were telling me some Megan Schofield chick was playing QB. I got you. I am a golf fan, but I didn't know the U.S. Women's Amateur Tournament was being played. I didn't watch any TV this weekend. I watched some of the men's tournament yesterday, though.
You played golf all weekend.
I did. All right, so we got that. We both got the Buffalo Bills winning that division.
All right, AFC North: Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. What do you see there?
I like the Bengals to win that easily. Then I'm going to have the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, I'm doing it just the opposite. I'm taking Cincinnati to win like you, but I'm taking the Steelers. I think Pickett's going to have a good year. I'm taking them 2, Baltimore 3. I'm just not a believer. And then Cleveland 4. So you had Cincinnati, Baltimore 2, Cleveland 3, and Pittsburgh 4. South, AFC South: Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, and Tennessee.
I think the Jags win it. Very close over the Titans, and then the Texans and the Colts are going to be about the same.
That's how I got it. Exactly the same. All right. And then finally in the AFC West: Kansas City, Chargers, Vegas, and Denver. I think we're both going to take the Chiefs for sure. But what about the second place? Chargers or Vegas?
That's the Chargers easily. The other 2 teams aren't very good. I don't think the Broncos are very good. The Raiders aren't very good either. They're a toss-up. I thought we were going to be picking playoff teams. I didn't know we were going to be picking.
Well, we're about to right now.
Okay.
The AFC Championship game. Who's going to win the AFC Championship?
Well, we got to figure out which teams are going to make the playoffs because you got teams that are wild cards. Remember.
Okay.
So if we're just going to pick the AFC Championship game, it's going to be the Chiefs and the Bengals.
Bengals. So you don't have the Bills, huh? Okay.
They're going to lose somehow, probably.
KC, Cincinnati. Well, I'm going to take Buffalo, and I think, Kansas City is hard to bet against. So yeah, I guess Kansas City. You can't pick against Pat Mahomes. It's impossible. And in the AFC, I think this is Buffalo's year to win it. I know I'm betting against Patrick Mahomes, which I hate doing. He's the best. But
I'm going to pick the Bengals to win the AFC.
You got the
I'm going to pick the Bengals. I'm getting off the Bills. They've screwed me.
Well, it's easy to say, but at some point they're just so damn good. Okay, so you're going to have Cincinnati and
Chiefs.
Buffalo with the Cincinnati Bengals winning it, the AFC. Okay, and I'm taking Buffalo to win the AFC. All right, NFC. Here we go, real quick. Dallas, New York, Washington, and Philly.
I like Philly, and then I guess the Cowboys, then the Giants, and then the Redskins.
Yep, me too. Same exact order. In the North, this is going to be an interesting division between Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, and Minnesota.
I like the Detroit Lions to win it.
So do I.
With Minnesota, and then Bears and Packers are going to be at the bottom.
Okay, I think the Bears are going to have they're going to be I think Green Bay. I think Jordan Love's going to have a great year. I like Green Bay. Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's got it. In the South, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Carolina, and Atlanta. This
is going to be blowout city. It is the New Orleans Saints will win this going away.
I think you're right. I got the Saints.
And then I don't think the other 3 teams, it doesn't matter. But the Saints are clearly, they are loaded this year.
Yeah, defensively.
I think Derek Carr is going to be outstanding.
Yeah, he had a good preseason game, by the way. He was 6 of 8, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. I know it's just preseason, but Derek Carr's got to fit into New Orleans Kamara stays healthy. They got the guys on the outside with that nasty defense led by Cameron Jordan. Oh, watch out. Or is it? Yeah, watch out for New Orleans. I agree with that 1,000%. In the West, San Francisco, Seattle, Arizona, and my Rams. You know, the Rams have been such an afterthought since winning the Super Bowl. It's incredible.
It is.
But
I know there was a lot of talk about Stetson Bennett online on Twitter.
He played
well.
Played well for the Rams. Threw a touchdown pass for the Rams. He sure did.
49ers and everybody else is whatever.
Okay, I got 49ers, Seattle, Rams third, and Arizona fourth. New coach at Arizona. Championship game in the NFC. Who do you have?
I got the Saints and the Lions.
Okay, I'm going to take
the Eagles.
Eagles. I'm rooting for the Cowboys, however. I don't want – you know what? Forget the Eagles. We have a friend. I can't get over his Eagles. I'm going to take Dallas against New Orleans in the NFC Championship game, and I got New Orleans winning the NFC.
God dang it, that's my pick. I have the Saints beating the Bengals for the world title.
All right, Philadelphia or the Lions, who wins the NFC?
I just said the Saints beating the Bengals in the Super Bowl, JC.
I'm sorry. I thought you had.
I have the Saints beating the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game.
Excuse me. I wrote down Philly. Sorry. Okay, so we both got New Orleans. All right. I mean, we're gonna go with it. We've got our favorite teams out there, but let's pick something different. Different.
I do think the Saints are absolutely loaded this year.
Who's on the outside for the set? Who's he throwing to? I know there's some good players.
You still got Michael Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the other guys because I haven't really looked at their roster.
But they're good players.
They have dudes, man. They have dudes.
Okay. And I saw that too. I don't know what is wrong with why does it come to mind? What the hell is going on with my head? I think the Saints. I was reading about them, and they've got some, like you said, they got some real.
Their defense is just really nasty there. So, JC, while you're looking up whatever you're looking up, let's get to this day in sports. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. This day in sports, in 2011 at the PGA Championship at the Atlanta Athletic Club, Keegan Bradley wins his first major by one stroke in a playoff over Jason Duffner. We talked last week where Jason Duffner went to college. Do you know where Keegan Bradley played his college golf, JC? You will never guess this.
It's got to be somewhere up north, up in the Northeast.
Yep. I'm going to give you some hints.
Okay.
They're in the Big East in basketball.
UConn.
Nope.
Oh, really?
Rick Pitino's their head coach now.
St. John's?
He's a St. John's Redmen or whatever the hell they're called.
They're the
Red Storm.
Right. They're a Storm now, but they used to be men. So, right. St. John. Wow, he played golf at St. John's. Well,
yeah, I mean, he probably played about 3 months out of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for him. He won a tournament up in that area this year, and he's also PGA championship winner.
So Andy says Kamara suspended the first 3 games. What's he suspended for? Do you know?
All right, I'm changing from the Saints to the Cowboys. Give me Dallas. Yeah. Sometimes you just can't trust these guys. Kamara's one of them. He's either hurt or he's doing something crazy. Jimmy Graham's on their team. Michael Thomas, Kamara, Juwan Johnson, A.T. Perry, whoever that is. I don't know. I'm with you, though. I think New Orleans is going to be great. Derek Carr.
All right. On YouTube, we got a comment on YouTube referring to whoever was saying on Facebook about Tua throwing 3 interceptions. Graham says Tua didn't even play.
No, Tua did not play. That's why when you said that, I just closed my mouth because I did not see him play. I did not know that he played. Why would he play? This is Mr. Concussion. In fact, the story with Tua is that he's learning jiu-jitsu so that he can figure out how to fall. How to fall. Yes.
Falling is. I didn't know that you could learn how to fall. You just have a knack of falling. But yeah, falling as a quarterback is very, very important.
Absolutely. And for some reason, the way this guy just cracks his head when he hits the ground, I don't know. He's had hip injuries. He's had multiple concussions. how can you say that in the AFC? And listen, it's a talented roster, but they've already suffered a major injury with the defensive back who they got from the Rams, and they've just they just have injuries all the time. I don't know. Buffalo to me physically is the best team in the AFC East, and I think the Jets are just right behind. Not much though. The Jets are going to be extremely physical. Quinnen Williams, Solomon Thomas is a very good team. Aaron Rodgers is basically a coach on the field. Watch Hard Knocks. He is having the time of his life in training camp. He is smiling. He is singing. He is cutting up. And Nathaniel Hackett, don't discount Nathaniel Hackett as the OC just because he had a terrible stint at Denver as the head coach. It's a much different world worrying about just one unit than worrying about the whole thing. And Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers made magic happen in Green Bay. I can't see why that doesn't happen in New York. And I think Robert Saleh, great defensive coach. I think they're putting all the pieces together in New York for the first time in God knows how long. And New York is going to give Buffalo all they want in the AFC East. I'm just stating that their first 6 games are not easy. Very difficult.
John was referring to Tua. He was talking about Sunday's practice. He threw 3 interceptions. Again, again, this is where information like this, to me, being a former player, we don't know, because here's what could have happened in the meetings leading up to that practice, sitting in the meeting. All right, Tua, we're looking at these 2 wide receivers to figure out which ones we're going to keep. Whether it's in 7-on-7 or teams periods, we want you to force the football to these guys to see if they can make contested catches or what. Okay, so he throws 3 picks, doing what the coaches asked him to do. That's my point. That's why open practices sometimes
can be trouble.
Horrible, because I can't tell you, JC, you and I are in a quarterback competition. I drop back, go through my reads, bam, swing pass, drop back next play, check down. Okay. Well, maybe due to the play called and the coverage that the defense just gave me, I had no opportunity to throw it down the field. So I did exactly what I'm supposed to do. You get in there and you throw 2 bombs for touchdowns. Yeah. They blitz. And it's ridiculous. So anyway,
this is why coaches sometimes don't want big crowds scrutinizing their practices, because they're not really sure what's the structure of what's going on in the practice. But it's okay. The only thing that matters is week 1, and when that comes, we'll start to forget about all this other stuff, I think.
All right, Bob up in Jacksonville on the Titan Hour text line says, Shane, did you happen to see Nathan Rourke's amazing play against the Cowboys? I did see it on the highlights.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was on Twitter. It was a great play. He played his college ball at Ohio, been up in Canada. He'll probably get cut, maybe make the practice squad. But there's no quarterback controversy even after that play.
No, it's great. On the beach this weekend, QB, I saw probably no less than 5 Jaguar flags flying where you got your Georgia Bulldog tent, your big G flag, you got your Florida Gator, orange and blue tent, big Gator head, Robo Gator. Man, I saw Jaguar flags everywhere.
Did you have an Alabama flag on the beach?
No, I did not. I mean, I should. But
you know what the reports coming out of Tuscaloosa about the quarterbacks?
It's your guy you're talking about is going to start.
No.
Oh, it's not.
The guy Derrick Henry's going to start. Number 4. Jalen Milroe. So get ready for a lot of quarterback runs, and you can get real excited about those.
I don't know about this. I mean, I don't think Saban has said that yet. I mean, I think Simpson is the guy they're looking to who will throw the ball. I mean, Alabama's got 3 guys, so he'll find one. And they may just play both guys. But I hate that, because when you play 2 quarterbacks, it means you don't have one. And I don't like that. I like going with the starter and sticking with them. If Jalen Milroe is their guy, you just have to believe that he's gotten a little bit better, just like Joe Milton. I'm sure that the Tennessee fans are excited about Joe Milton. Shane Matthews is not excited about Joe Milton, but the Tennessee fans probably are. And so because that's who their coach said is the best guy they have to get that football in the end zone. how do you not trust what Josh Heupel has to say, QB? I mean,
is Josh Heupel going to come out and say Joe Milton stinks? Have you ever heard
well,
a
no,
coach
he's
come
not
out and
gonna
talk
say
about their player not being very good?
No, he's not going to say either of those
Okay.
things. But if he's going to start, then he believes that Joe Milton is the best guy on that roster.
I agree, because maybe he's the best they have. But you got to remember, when Josh Heupel got the job, Joe Milton was the starter, and he benched him. Okay.
Well, there was a guy from Virginia Tech that showed up that was pretty damn good.
No. He was already there. He didn't just show up. He was already on the roster. So obviously, he thought Joe Milton was better than Hendon Hooker during training camp.
Does that remind you of Felipe Franks and Kyle Trask? I mean, sometimes these coaches just don't know until they see it. And Dan Mullen
people get it. People like I told you, a lot of coaches get enamored with the crap that has nothing to do with playing the position.
Okay.
Same way with general managers. Zach says, Shane, speaking of the NFL, anything fishy ever going in your time being a pro that you observed? Been lots of odd plays that seem to connect to the Vegas spreads. No. I don't know what plays you're referring to, but no, I never witnessed anything like that.
No. No.
All right. Well, we got Scott Carter. We're going to talk about the mighty Gators.
That might be the best shirt I've seen you wear. I mean, that sign on the side of the stadium, "Welcome Silly Gators," has been hanging since the 70s. It's one of the best shirts. Yeah. Can I get one of those, please, QB? I'm putting my order. I'm putting my order. If it's cotton, it's 2XL. If it's cotton,
JC, nobody in the world wears cotton anymore. Except you.
Okay, then get me an XL.
Go get you some Dockers, pleated Dockers at JC Penney today, okay?
You mean I'm wearing that shirt to the Utah game. You can get it.
Most people are looking at you like, what in the hell does that shirt mean? All right, JC, we got to go. Have a good day. That's JC joins us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. He wants cotton. JC wears cotton still. We're going to take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by FloridaGators.com senior writer Scott Carter. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Attention all Gator fans, Meldon Law is giving away a chance to experience the Florida-Georgia game like never before. 2-night stay at the Hilton on the River, dinner at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, 2 premium tickets to the game, and a football signed by Coach Billy Napier, and much more. Go to the Meldon Law Facebook page and look for the VIP experience for 2. Good luck and go Gators!
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point is the flagship restaurant of the Florida Gators, the hottest restaurant in Florida in the heart of Gator Nation. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Check them out at spurriers.com. And tonight is the 2-year anniversary. It's sold out, folks. And we're going to go now to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by senior writer of the FloridaGators.com website, Scott Carter. Good morning, Scott. How you doing, bud?
Hey, good morning, Shane. I'm going to be at Spurs. Are you?
I am. What time do the festivities kick off? Do you have any idea? Because I don't.
I want to say 6, but I might get there early just so I don't miss it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, okay. I'm glad. I need to find out. So, yeah, looking forward to that. It's it's going to be a fun night for sure. I got to ask you a question because I just had JC. Scott, when's the last time you wore a 100% cotton T-shirt?
Wow. Wow. That's a good question. It's been a while, Shane. I'm a big dry fit guy now.
Yeah. I mean, JC, he still shops at JC Penney, I think.
I still
Are
have.
they still in business?
What? Yeah, maybe.
JC Penney's?
I guess
Yeah.
JC keeps them in business.
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah.
Before we jump into it, Andy wants to know, Scott, will you be at Spurs tonight? Obviously, you just answered that. He says, if so, can your fans say hello and buy you a drink?
Well, I didn't know I had fans, but if they're there, yeah, why not? Why
There you
not?
go. You can
We'll be
sign
in a
some
back room
autographs.
back there, and I know, there's going to be several of good old media boys, like Spurrier
Media
likes
boys.
to say.
Media
So we'll have
boys.
a group there. I went last year; it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Scott. I guess over the weekend, well, they had a scrimmage that was on Thursday. Had a
Mhm.
few practices since then. I mean, obviously, we all know about Justice Boone and hate to see it. He's out for the year, ACL tear. But what can you tell us? Any good news coming out of the camp right now?
The big news obviously was Friday afternoon. He went ahead and kind of told the team and told Graham Mertz, "Hey, we're going to go with you moving ahead. You're the starter." And so I think anytime you do that, that kind of creates a little bit more of an identity, Shane. I mean, you know how that works. The team now knows the guy. And I think we all knew it was going to be Graham Mertz. But I think this weekend it was just kind of getting back to work. And, I always look at the first couple of weeks of camp is, acclimation, guys getting looks who might not get a lot of looks. And now it's starting to kind of tighten up. It's getting a little more physical out there. You're starting to see the kind of lineups emerge. So this really is when it's crunch time now. So they got about another week, 10 days of this competition period. And Napier said on Friday that it's going to be there's a lot of competition left to be settled. And then, of course, they'll get into game week. So I just think we're at that point in camp, Shane, where, no injuries is good, unfortunately, about Boone, but nothing over the weekend that I'm aware of. And now it's just, like I said, more intensity out there.
Buck has a Facebook Live question brought to you by Bell and Law. He wants your thoughts on the safeties. How do you think they've looked so far, and who do you think will start?
Well, that's a great question. The safeties is a position group where I think going into camp, a lot of people looked, okay, Miguel Mitchell and Kamari Wilson were the kind of the leaders in the clubhouse, right? They played some last year. You lost some talent. One guy who really, he keeps showing up to me is Jordan Castell, the true freshman. I mean, I like this guy. I don't think he's out of the mix in any situation. I think he's a real threat to get some serious playing time. And I still think Miguel Mitchell's right there. Kamari Wilson maybe seems to have, he's in that developmental phase. I know a lot of fans love him because he was a highly recruited guy. I still think he's developing. But I don't know. One guy I keep hearing about Jordan Castell, so I watched him a little bit last week, and I saw him getting some snaps out there. He's a good-looking young player that I think is definitely part of the future.
We have a Facebook Live here. Well, first of all, Reggie wants to know what will be the drop off, if any, replacing Boone. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've moved Tyreek Sapp from inside out to that position. And I think that's a position he played in high school. Also, isn't that where Jack Pyburn plays?
Yeah, I mean, Sapp can go inside or outside. Billy said that's one option they have. And you're going to see that some. Jack Pyburn, he's been playing there. He's a young guy who, he keeps showing up. Billy said it best the other day. I mean, he's a guy at his best when the pads are on. He's one of those guys that doesn't get talked about a lot. Maybe wasn't on a huge recruit that fans knew about. But when the action heats up on the field, the guy's out there putting his nose toward the ball. And I think, coaches love that, Shane. He's their kind of player from what I could tell. So, yeah, you got those two guys, I think, going to take a lot of that work. And then it's the younger guys, Kelby Collins, TJ Searcy. I mean, they're getting some extra reps now. So it was unfortunate. But as you know, I mean, you're going to lose guys. It was just with Boone, he's just such a good kid, and he was a team leader developing in that role. So that hurt from that aspect.
Yeah, and Jack Powerburn's that guy that has a motor, nonstop motor, and those are the kind of guys, as you said, you may not be the most talented guy, but those are the kind of players that I trust me, offensive linemen hate blocking those, trying to block those type of effort guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. He's
So,
got some gator in him, is how Billy said it.
yeah.
He's got some gator in him, which I don't know if I've heard him use that term before. So that's his kind of guy. That's the code I'm using there.
I like that. Chris
Yeah.
on YouTube says, Shane, do you truly believe the Gators have the talent to win 8 games this year? If so, what makes you feel that way? All right, Chris, if you listen to this program for a long time, I go back last year, and I don't want to bore people, but I'm going to say it real quick. The best players on the Florida Gators last year, Billy Napier and his staff were solely responsible for bringing those guys in. He brought in over 50 of them this year. They are clearly more athletic. They are a faster football team, and they are a bigger football team. I do think it's a better football team. I do think they win a minimum of 8 games. So we'll see if I'm right or wrong. It is what it is. JB wants to know which freshman wide receivers will catch the most balls this year. Boy, I like all 3 of them. Is there more than 3, or is there just 3 of them?
Oh, the 3 true freshmen,
Yeah.
Aiden Mizell,
Wilson.
Trey Wilson, and then Andy Jean. Yeah, it seems like to me Jean maybe is the leader to do that because he seems to be a little ahead of the curve physically. But of course, Trey Wilson gets here. We've talked about him staying out of practice. I mean, he was a guy we both wanted to watch, and I liked everything I've seen so far. But in terms of just their passing game and the way they approach the offense, I would say Gene is the guy who I would think might have the most catches. But, any of those guys could, because if they're freshmen, we don't really know yet how they're going to emerge and develop.
Yeah, I love all 3 of them. I think they have a bright, bright future. They can make some plays. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with Scott Carter here on the Titan Memorial Highline. Scott, I want to ask you, obviously, a lot of Gator fans are familiar with Montrell Johnson and ETN, 2 really good running backs. But the kid from Tulane, Carroll, and then the other kid from, I think it's Houston, how much action do you see them getting?
Well, I think Cam Carroll, he's a 6-year guy. He catches the ball pretty well, the backfield. And he was a good player at Tulane who basically got hurt early last year and lost his job. And then, Tulane went on to have a really good season, so it was hard for him to get back into the lineup. But of the guys that back there besides Johnson and Etienne, I look at Carroll as being a regular mix of that rotation. Like I said, a veteran guy. You got Trayon Webb, the true freshman, more of a developmental season for him, I think. But I think with that backfield, those 3 guys we mentioned, all 3 of them with Louisiana backgrounds, it's a little different. But I like where the Gators are in that regard.
Back to you two. Chris wants to know your opinion on the talent to win 8 games. And then Graham says, you have them at 8 wins. Is Utah one of them? I think there's only 2 teams better than the Florida Gators on their roster, and that's Georgia and LSU. I do not think FSU is very good. I do not think Tennessee is that good. I mean, when I say very good, I don't think they're that much better than the Florida Gators. If you look at ESPN now, which everybody has their projections or whatever, they have the Gators going 8-4 and favored in like 9 of their games or something like that. So, Scott, what's your opinion on the talent level? Do we have the talent to win 8 games?
I think whenever you have a veteran quarterback like Graham Mertz, who's been around the block, I think that automatically helps when you're talking about projections, right? So, it's a lot of it to me is going to be dependent on how well he plays. And I don't think he can just go out there and just manage the game and keep away from mistakes. I think he's going to have to make some things happen to get up to 8 wins. We've talked about this between me and you, Shane. I think you might be a little more optimistic than me. I've been on this 6-6 kind of train. I just see this team as it's a transition year. You know, I looked at last year as being a huge transition year internally for the program. You know, new staff, new way of doing things, new facility. And I mean, they still had to play football too. We saw it. It was 6-6 and they lost the ball game. I think this year is a true transition on the field. I mean, there's 48 new guys on the roster, man. I mean, there's so many unknowns with this group. But I agree with some of what you're saying. I mean, I think this team has talent. So anytime you have an infusion of new players getting an opportunity who are hungry to prove themselves, I think that can surprise you sometimes. So I am into that 6 to 8 win category, but I'm leaning more towards 6 or 7 right now. I think to get above that, Graham Mertz would be the difference maker, to be honest with you. I think he's going to have to be better than maybe we saw at Wisconsin. But, hey, that's why I love these kind of seasons. I mean, I know we're not sitting here talking about maybe competing for the SEC East or going to Atlanta like most Gator fans would want. But once in a while, you get a team like this where, quite frankly, I don't really know what to expect across the board. So it's kind of fun just to see it.
Yeah, and I think Graham's going to have a heck of a year. I think he's a really good quarterback. I know Billy likes him a lot. You're going to see a different style of offense this year. He's consistent, and that's like I said. I look at the court, whether it's right or wrong. I look at the quarterback position different than most people. I need a guy that's going to do all the little things that you don't notice watching on TV or you don't notice at the game. And I think he's going to do all those things. I don't think he's going to be a game manager. I firmly believe he's a Spurrier. If Steve Spurrier was coaching this team, he would fit in very well, and people would think differently because he takes his steps, he's accurate, knows where to go with the ball, and the ball's gone. Well, like I said, he's more athletic than people think. He can run the ball, but he's not going to hurdle people. He's not going to run over anybody, but he's going to do all the little things that nobody's going to notice. If that makes any sense.
Well, and those quarterbacks, they're proven to win consistently. I mean, it's like you said, I can see him fitting in with what Spurrier used to do in a lot of ways. I think we just got a little, maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Out of whack with a quarterback like Anthony who does so many things. But again,
he is an athlete playing quarterback.
Yeah.
But if we were still in the Spurrier era and Graham Mertz was on this roster, y'all would go, damn, he throws the ball like Werfel. He throws the ball like Kresser. He throws the ball like Chris Leak. He throws the ball like, I mean, you know, it's just people get enamored with the running. And I brought this up the other day to JC. I watched about 8 plays of a preseason game. I think it was Friday night when I got home from dinner. And it was the it was the New England Patriots had the kid Malik Cunningham at quarterback.
Okay.
3 straight plays he dropped back, Scott, and he ran 8 yards, 12 yards, 14. The fans were going nuts. Okay. And I go, it's amazing to me how fans get so excited when a quarterback takes off running.
Yeah.
You know, if they complete a 12-yard pass, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's weird how the whole dynamic of the quarterback position has changed. So we'll see. Andy says, does Mertz have a little Shane in him? He throws it better than I did, people. I'm telling you. He's bigger than I was. He has a stronger arm than I was, and he's faster than I was. So we'll see. You know, we shall see. Offensive line play. We got a bunch of texts here on the Titan our text line about offensive line play. Everybody healthy at that position right now?
I mean, yeah, as far as I remember going in, but Kua's getting back out there. Richie Leonard's been in and out, but I think he was back out over the weekend. And then, of course, you got George and who else am I missing? I know Egglekon. So, and Barber. So, yeah, I mean, as far as I know, they're still trying to develop, depth there, obviously, with the Goodwin being, leaving. I think that was one that kind of hurt them. And they got to get maybe a couple of these guys who were on the fringe going into camp, maybe get them up to speed more. Jordan Herman, the guy who, man, he passes the eye test, Shane. It'd be nice to see him really emerge as one of those guys up there.
Lauren says people want the best of both worlds, Shane, which rarely happens. Yeah, you don't, like I said, the running quarterbacks, if you're a dual threat, mostly running quarterback, nobody's ever won anything. You know, you have to throw the football. You have to throw the football. Scott, I want to ask you, what are you hearing from your people out in Utah? Obviously, the big news over the weekend was that their backup quarterback is out now because for whatever reason, Kyle Whittingham let him get clobbered and he lacerated his liver. And I just don't think Cam Rising is going to be ready to play. Have you heard what's going on out in Utah?
Yeah, I mean just from the reports and what I've heard is that they don't think that Rising's going to be ready. The Gators, and it's reading between the lines what Whittingham's saying, even what Rising said last week. You could tell he's far from being the same kind of player I think the Gators saw last year in the Swamp, who really, I think he threw for 200-some yards, ran for 91, and he was huge, and of course made a key mistake there at the end of the game that, helped the Gators. But he's definitely a good player, makes Utah's offense run. But now unless they really are able to test him on a better level than they have so far now with the injury to the backup. So you may be seeing a very inexperienced Utah quarterback. And Utah, I mean, they're coming into this game. I think, Shane, they've won
26 of 28 games at home.
At home, 26
of
28 and like 20 in a row or something. So I mean, they're a really good home team, but Cam Rising is a big part of that success at home. So that is going to be the major storyline out of Salt Lake City for the youths until they play the Gators. Will not Cam Rising play?
Yeah, you can have all the practices where he's in a black jersey or red jersey or whatever, but just he makes one subtle move if somebody comes through the A gap and messes that thing up, because I think he's got a chance to make an NFL roster at some point. All right, Scott, before we get you out of here, anything else come out of camp that you're going to write about or on down the road? Any surprising?
This is
articles?
that time of year where this week I'm going to try just to write about the positions and really try to hone in on how they're looking each one. I'm not a big spring, summer position group battle. You don't know anything really until about this time of camp. This is when things start to really kind of come to fruition. I am right about Damian George, the kid from Alabama this week. He's got a pretty interesting backstory besides transfer from Alabama. He's one of the rare guys on the team who's, got his fiance and his kid, and he's here for a reason. And it was a big life decision for him to leave Alabama to come to Florida. So kind of going to share that story.
And he's the one that said that we had the same amount of talent as Alabama.
He did. I think he was being, what was the word? Diplomatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he said the right thing as far as when he's in the mic, but I think we all know that we got a little work to do. But hey, that's all right. That's why he's here.
At least we're starting to look more like them.
Yeah, definitely starting to look more like them.
Once we get off the bus, we're looking better.
Yeah, that without question, they're passing the eye test more. Now let's see it on the field, man.
Speaking of that, who would Scott Carter want the first Gator to get off the bus? Which guy would that be?
That's a good question. Let's see. Man, he's not even playing, but he keeps popping in my mind. It's the Jordan Herman kid. When I saw him, I'm like, damn, why is this guy not out there?
Yeah, he's big.
He's big, but then of course, all the offensive linemen, it would have been Goodwin if he hadn't left. I mean, that guy was a tank. And of course, even Damian George is a huge guy. All these offensive linemen that they brought in are so much bigger than even Austin Barber, who's playing at left tackle.
He looks little.
He looks small compared to these other guys.
Yes.
But one guy I like just the physical, and he's small, but man, I just like this kid, Trey Wilson, man. He's got he's got the swagger, as they say, Shane. He's got that swagger like you used to have when you came off with the leather coat and